right now, the exciting things that are going on are digital intelligence, digital assets, digital capital, digital credit. It's pretty clear that money's going to move at the speed of light. It's pretty clear that a billion AIs are going to think a billion times faster than us human beings. You can see a world where a billion robots are going to build everything we need, where the cars are going to drive themselves, where the products are going to figure stuff out for us. So we're moving toward an intelligent world that is millions of times more efficient and more empowering. So in a world where a billion robots do everything I want before I think to ask for the thing, I don't know how I won't be better off.
Michael, is there a risk that some of those robots or perhaps quantum computers combined with generative AI, that they crack Bitcoin, or that they think of something better than Bitcoin and it becomes obsolete?
No, I don't think there is a risk. I think that technology will improve and hardware will improve, and at some point, if the hardware gets more powerful, we'll have to upgrade the software that protects our system. So just like you can expect your bank to upgrade their software, and you can expect to upgrade your Apple software and your Google software and your Microsoft software, and you can expect to upgrade your hardware devices. I'm on the iPhone 17 Pro Max right now. You'll upgrade your computer. Bitcoin is a protocol, but it runs on hardware and software nodes all around the world. The hardware is being upgraded every few months. The software is being upgraded annually. And so the software and hardware that runs the Bitcoin protocol is going to get upgraded just like your Apple and Android and Microsoft software will get upgraded.
I was going to say Tim Cook's sending you a check in the mail, but I guess now Microsoft and Alphabet have got to send you a check too, because you mentioned all of those. Let's talk a little bit about the bigger market because of the AI advances that you're talking about. You're very familiar with the dot-com bubble, right? Because you founded MicroStrategy in '89, you went public in '98. I was looking at the history of the stock chart here. You went public at $12 a share. The stock at that time spiked as high as $313 in 2000. And then crashed down or remained below 20 until you initiated your Bitcoin buying strategy. I'm curious, as you look back at that crash, what that taught you and whether you see any parallels today. Obviously, you're aware of the big bubble debate going on right now.
I think it teaches you to focus. Don't overextend. You might have 10 good ideas, but you're better to focus upon your one idea and to commercialize the one idea. It also just reminds you that no matter where you are as a corporation, you can always improve the company's outlook, and you can improve and create shareholder value by harnessing the next wave. People wrote off Apple for dead. I mean, Michael Dell famously told Apple to shut down and give the money back to the shareholders back around '97. And then Steve Jobs returned and he harnessed the internet, and then he harnessed MP3 files and digital music in order to revive Apple, and then eventually created a crazy thing called the iPhone, and it became the most valuable company in the world. I think history is replete with examples, whether it's the internet or whether it's AI chips, people wrote off GPUs as being irrelevant, and all of a sudden we have the ChatGPT moment. The Bitcoin miners were struggling, and then AI explodes, and now everybody wants their energy. I think that digital intelligence, digital assets, digital capital are creating the most compelling opportunities for corporations in the world today. I think the important thing is to use them the right way. For example, we used AI in order to design those 5 digital credit instruments. So people ask, how do you make $1 billion with AI? Well, we created $8 billion with AI just by designing new types of securities. Yesterday, STRC traded $175 million. It's the most successful preferred stock in the century, maybe ever in the history of the capital markets. It was designed completely with AI. It's 100 times better than a good preferred stock. I would encourage anybody with any corporation to think about how you turbocharge your company by using digital assets, digital currency, digital capital, or digital intelligence. there isn't a company that you can't improve using technology in the year 2025.
Michael, later on in the program, I'm going to be sitting down with Eric Trump and Asher Ganut. They're, of course, working American Bitcoin and Hut 8 mining those operations for American Bitcoin. And I know they're very focused on power generation. As you look at your long-term outlook for Bitcoin, other cryptocurrencies, how concerned are you that this country can't produce the power it needs to meet the demands of cryptocurrency?
You know, I think the company got a wake-up call. Back in 2020 and 2021, I talked to a lot of power companies and energy companies, and they were about to decommission all their nuclear reactors. We were staring at all the nuclear reactors getting decommissioned, and there was a movement to shut down nuclear energy in this country. And of course, in Germany, they shut them all down. From early 70s, 73, all the way till 2023, the nuclear industry was persona non grata, and it was politically incorrect. And I think the explosion of AI, and when people started using these AIs and realized they're actually quite useful and they're transformational, it created a reconsideration and a political shift in the United States. The Overton window shifted. And as soon as Google and Microsoft and Apple and Amazon realized they needed energy, nuclear became cool again. And we flipped from 50 years of not wanting to build power, whether it's nuclear or natural gas was out of favor too. People wanted to shut down natural gas. All of that changed in the past 2 years, and now the political sentiment in this country is we should develop natural gas, we should develop nuclear power. And of course, we're only about 1 to 2 years into that sentiment shift. But I have confidence that the United States is going to move from a laggard to a leader in the energy generation business, because now we see we need the energy to drive our cars, we need the energy to power up our robots, we need the energy to think 1 billion times faster, 1 billion times quicker, and we need the energy to defend our digital assets like the Bitcoin network. And the only thing that was lacking was the political will, and I think that has flipped 180 degrees. There's bipartisan consensus. There's not even a debate right now about whether we should generate more energy or build more power plants. 4 years ago, you couldn't have done it. And so I think we've been saved by the explosion of digital intelligence and digital assets in this country. It'll be good for the nation. It'll be good for the world.
Michael, obviously, you're a serious guy, right? We've talked a number of times. You think very deeply about all these issues. But then sometimes I look at your X account and I see you posting or reposting these various sort of digitally generated images, AI-generated images of yourself. They're a lot of fun, right? Of you, we're showing one of you in a top hat, various Bitcoin paraphernalia, superheroes, et cetera. Like, you know, I'm just curious how you think about that. Is that, you know, is your Bitcoin, you know, advocacy, is there an element of shtick to it as well? Are you having a little fun with it? How do you think about all of that?
You know, when I was growing up, there were 3 channels on television, and they turned off the television, the signal at like 11 o'clock at night or at midnight, and for 8 hours there was no programming. There was no internet. We didn't have, today, we have infinite free music, infinite free television, infinite streaming video, infinite free YouTube. You can get lost, fall in a TikTok hole, an Instagram hole. You can get on stream and Twitch. We have managed to manufacture infinite everything. It used to be you had to have money to get a newspaper or a magazine. And now you can see we live in a world where we have, to say 1 million times more content would be probably an understatement. So the entire society is being inundated with information, and their attention span has shrunk. And so people just don't have an hour to listen to what you have to say. Sometimes they don't have a minute. Oftentimes I think, you know, should I say it in a podcast? Well, maybe someone will listen to it. Can I say it in 5 minutes? That might be too long. Can I say it in 30 seconds? sometimes I'll write a paragraph and you think, no, I don't have a paragraph. People will read the first sentence. And then I write the sentence and I think people aren't going to read to the end of the sentence. And so the thing you learn from social media is you need to get to the point. So how about tell me what you want to say in 1 second? And the cliche is a picture is worth 1,000 words. And so sometimes I don't give you 1,000 words because you would lose 99.9% of the audience. In fact, I would say you'd probably lose 99.99% of the audience if it took 1,000 words. Show me the picture, and that will go viral. And you're doing people a service to give them an idea that travels 1,000,000 times faster, that is 1,000,000 times easier to digest, because people just don't have time. They're busy. They're being inundated. And when you see those images, that is us communicating something cheerful, constructive, useful, perhaps profitable to someone. But, you know, like if someone says, hey, I wrote a book on this, here's the book, do you want to read it? I mean, how many books can you read? You know, literally every book written in the history of the human race is available for free to you right now. Do you really want someone with a good idea to give you 250 pages and tell you to read it? Or do you just want them to boil it down to 1 sentence, 1 tagline, or 1 picture? Because I'm like, show me the picture. Okay, got it. Now I can move on with my life. Thank you.